Hey guys, welcome back to the layout. So I got a little bit of an update for you guys, mostly on the Newport side of the layout, but I'm just going to show you quickly some things I've done. So what I usually do is I kind of flip eras and I flip some railroads. And there's two railroads I generally love to model. It's the CP rail um, and that era. So CP rail, Boston to Maine, Lamoille Valley. I consider that one railroad, and the other railroad is the Vermont Railway in the 1980s. They had SW1500s at the time, two of them. So I love the SW1500s. They also had RS3s, Jeep 38s. So it was kind of an interesting mix. So I redid some scenes, and I figured since I like flipping them around a little bit sometimes, I would do a couple buildings and such and make it a little bit more friendly for the railroad. So I have a couple things that I use when I use the Vermont Railway, and then I have a couple things I use when I use the other railroads in particular. So in this particular scene, you can see the engine shops over there. So I was working on my other engine shops, and the other ones were just too long. It looked kind of odd. So what I decided to do is I said, let me go back to my old shops where they're two bays and they're kind of small. They fit two engines inside of them. It works for me. So what I did was I had my old shops, and then I got this new Pike Stuff building. And Pike Stuff, if you guys know, is very inexpensive. It was like $26 for the shed, and then it's like $10 for the little add-on office I added. So that being said, I built the Vermont Railway shops as they were in 1980, and they had a two-bay engine house just like they do there. So what I decided to do was make that. And I already have the power and everything for the Vermont Railway. The only two things I'm having done, and this is kind of why I'm doing this now, is I have Turner Junction Models. I think he's in Chicago, or West Chicago. So he's making two of the SW1500s I have into the Vermont Railway's 501 and 502. 501's the actual Vermont Railway. 502 is painted up in the decorative Clarendon and Pittsford, which is just a short little line that the Vermont Railway bought. So they kept a couple engines in that name. It's a pretty interesting backstory. But anyway, I'm having those done. So I figured why having them done, I'll make some Vermont Railway adjustments and kind of run them out around here. And that's kind of what I've done. Now, again, this layout is not designed for the Vermont Railway, so that's not my case. I just kind of use it as a circumstance, meaning that I have everything's like interchangeable if I want to change things around. So it's something that when I invite other people over, we could run the Vermont Railway if we want to, or we could run the CP rail. CP rail, obviously, in Lamoille Valley and Boston, Maine, is a lot busier. This railroad's a little bit more scaled down, so if it's just you and another buddy, or you and, like, say, 2 or 3 guys, it's very easy. If it's CP rail and I could have 5 or 6 people over here, I'll do that. Everything's a slow pace, though. You know, generally I run one train at a time. Maybe you'd have a yard switcher and a train running so everybody can kind of hang out. It makes it a lot easier. The other thing I did was looking at that area. I decided to do is I had a gravel company over here, and the gravel company, it just wasn't busy enough for me. It was around the time Lamoille Valley. Now, again, this is kind of something you do after the fact. I was researching it, and at the time Lamoille Valley really wasn't pulling much gravel out of it. So what I decided to do was I figured, let me make it a team track. And what I could do is I could have covered hoppers go in there, and box cars and flat cars, such as pole cars, right? You can see I have some poles there. So maybe 1 or 2 pole cars a little while, because pole cars run over CP rail. You could easily run up Lamoille Valley. And then just lumber in general, right? So I usually have 3 box cars going into this place anyway, of like fine finished woods. And then I have an agway facility here as well, which takes tank cars, hoppers occasionally. Lumber company would be the biggest thing on Lamoille Valley that I have that goes in and out. I was originally going to put a talc mill there, because they had at least a good 4 or 5 box cars going daily. But I decided it just didn't look good that way, so I figured let me just put a little gravel lot, and it makes it very easy. So hoppers, if you guys don't know, hoppers can get loaded by truck using PTO. So all I have to do is go to a ACF pressure slide hopper, which is what these guys are over here, and they can get unloaded by a truck, meaning they'll just hook a hose up to the bottom of the car, and it kind of gravity feeds, or they have like a pump that can suck whatever out of it, like plastic pellets, powder, stuff like that. So it's almost like a vacuum just sucking up powder. So trucks can do that pretty easily. Poles, I have a big forklift I ordered from Trident. It's pretty cool. I'll show you guys once it gets here. I'll weather it up and everything for you. And that's going to be for what I use to move the poles. And I just have a couple of small forklifts that they would use to move wood around. The other thing is I also ordered another Pike Stuff building here. It's like 10 bucks. It's a single stall engine house, so I plan on using it same thing. Inside, you would imagine they're unloading the boxcar into the building. Maybe they have some wood storage in there, or more or less it goes from train to truck. So the truck backs in, they unload it from the boxcar, put it on the truck, and then he goes out for his local deliveries. That's kind of the idea, and that's something that I don't have to model much. I just have to model a building, a truck, and a car, right? So just to give you guys some ideas. I think the biggest idea shift here is getting used to like the little bit of traffic change. But the only thing traffic-wise that I really change with the Vermont Railway versus Lamoille Valley is these cars right here. So the tank train cars. I have one set. I'm trying to get another one, but it all depends. I'm not too picky on it. I don't really have anywhere for the industry to go. They just kind of look cool going down. It's something the Vermont Railway specializes in moving. And the other thing is the clay slurry cars. I keep them on the layout all the time though. I don't have as much on the layout. I kind of scale it back when I go back to CP rail. That's more of a paper mill type of thing. A lot of traffic is interchanged that way. So those are just cars you see shuffling around with Vermont Railway. But really, what I'm going to take you guys to is the next thing I have in the layout over here and how far we're getting on this side. So as you guys know, I tore up this section of the layout. Let me zoom out here. I tore up this section of the layout, right? This old section. If you look back at my other videos, I had like an engine house over here and a yard, and I decided to get rid of that. I decided, let me just remodel Newport Yard. It's a good staging yard, big switching yard. I can actually make operations a little easier because I can actually run around trains. So it makes it all look a lot better. So I'm working on the little swamp pond here area. I just poured another coat of realistic water from Woodland Scenics down today. So I probably got one more or two more coats of that till I'm really satisfied with it. I did get the bridge glued in here. You can see there's a little bit of gap there, but it's not that's not noticeable, so I'm gonna leave it. So that's almost done. Lastly, over here, I'm planning on just adding some trees to the left side, and then this side maybe a cut out of a house or something like that. I did add the house in the back and a couple cars, some rail fans. So that's pretty much where I'm going to leave it as far as the yard goes. The yard I grassed, I put all the stuff in, and car-wise, we're pretty good with cars. Obviously, you can see this is just some stuff I use when I do Vermont Railway. The Vermont Railway at the time bought a ton of X-Main Central power, so it wouldn't be uncommon for you to see X-Main Central engine at the time rolling around. So that was something obviously I use this when I do my other side of the layout, but something just to keep it interesting. I'm working on some fuel tanks and stuff for the area here in Newport. Some little buildings. The turntable is not hooked up, doesn't really work. I don't really need a turntable. It was just something I wanted to model, so that's what I decided to do. And this is cheap. It's like 20 bucks. And just non-motorized. So all I did was just made the pit, put it in, that was it. And then built the kit as it is. And then we're working down here. This is the biggest thing I've gotten done the last couple weeks. So you guys can see the river edge scene. This was kind of bare for a while, but I got the static grass in. I got the bridge in, the abutments in. You can see the algae and stuff I put on them. I think it looks pretty cool that way. And then all the riprap along the side, some water. I still gotta get one more box of trees to kind of get that area done. And then I want to do a little bit more over here. Maybe not as much here because I want to kind of highlight the downtown, but a little bit more. And the last thing I'm going to put in here is the pork store from The Sopranos. Someone makes a kit of it, and I really want to put that in there because I'm from New Jersey, so I figured that'd be a funny little thing to have. I'm currently working on this building here. This is a quick eBay find I found. It was like $5, broken down, disrepair. Fixing it up right now. I just got to add a little door down here, and I think we'll be pretty good. There was a little hole in the roof too, but I figured I'll do my famous tarp, the roof thing, under construction, something like that. I got the boards in here on the front and the back side, so we're almost to that phase where I'm going to paint the river. I just have to finish up the bridge. The last thing I have to do is add the little walkway on the side. So add the little walkway, the little railing, and the bridge is done. And then obviously I'm going to pour this pretty deep. So we're probably looking at about halfway on those stanchions there. So it's going to take a long time to get the water to where I want it to be, but I think it'll look really good when it's done. And, like I said, just make a couple more trees and we'll be pretty good in that aspect. So, but we're getting there, guys. So I just want to make a quick update, show you guys what I've been up to. I'll definitely make a video once they get the SW1500s back. They look fantastic. So if you guys need anything, Turner Junction Models, this guy's been doing a fantastic job for me. And I really can't wait to get those back. And then I also had him put, he's going to put Keep Alive capacitors in them. So I have some issues in some spots. I think it's more related to the power pack I use for DCC. It just probably doesn't have enough juice. It's more designed for like a 4x8 layout than this thing. But like I said, we had some spot issues. Not something I plan on replacing at the moment. But it's more, I think, more issues with the track than anything. But I've slowly learned this section of the layout. Trust me, I have really no issues at all. There's maybe like 2 spots I think that I have a problem with. And it's really more this side of things. And the reason I don't want to rip out track and redo it is just it's been there for so many years. The scenes are iconic to me at this point. There's very little things that I'll do to scenes. Like, in fact, on this railroad, the only thing that I've actually done that's been big was taking this down and kind of redoing the same exact thing. And this, I just threw dirt down, and that's what we use for the forklift to drive around. But that's really it. I just vacuumed with some ballast and put dirt in. So, but other than that, I mean, everything else is pretty much the way I want it. And I just can't see myself taking up some scenes like that. So, but anyway, guys, that's a quick update. Try to keep this short for you, and I'll keep you posted with what happens next time. So check back in hopefully about a month. All right, see you guys.